The mentor and the spirit of a living human. In my first year, I saw a funeral procession. Several people in mourning attire were carrying someone's coffin. Behind them, a group that looked like relatives were weeping. Everyone had a somber expression. The hearse, with the coffin on it, had come to a halt. I subtly concealed my thumbs, showing respect. Among those in the procession, a little boy caught my eye. He was around 5 years old, and I had seen him before. I couldn't help but wonder if his father had passed away. The mourning attire looked quite uncomfortable under the bright sun. Where was it? Senior asked while twirling his pen. It was hard to tell if he was genuinely interested or simply indifferent. He had been failing at his pen twirling attempts, dropping it multiple times since he started. It was over there, by the pedestrian overpass, across from the barber shop, I replied. I told him about the funeral procession I had seen during my way home yesterday. The school library was just as quiet as usual, and the student librarian, the one always wearing glasses, was busy organizing the lending cards. I see, Senior responded nonchalantly. He continued with his pen twirling, which hadn't succeeded even once. It seemed like he was practicing a challenging trick, and it kept falling. I wondered why he kept trying when he couldn't do it. As I pondered this, Senior suddenly stopped his movements. It was yesterday. You were walking around near the station in the evening, right? Together, I explained, observing a deep furrow between Senior's eyebrows. I couldn't see her face. Her hair was long, like, Sadako's, I said, using my hand to indicate long, straight hair that hung down her back. She had very long black hair, which extended to around the middle of her back. Additionally, she was looking down, so I couldn't see her face from the angle I was looking at. Senior sighed. I see. Just as I suspected. It seemed that this woman had nothing to do with his plans after all. Looking back on it, the woman was indeed unusual, and he realized that there was no way she could have been connected to what he had in mind. But I had thought there might be some connection since she was familiar with Senior. What is it? I asked. Senior rolled his shoulders with a snap, seeming tired today. Alright, let me explain this from the beginning. Do you know what a familiar is? I nodded. In Japan, familiars are referred to as shikigami. Have you heard of them? Shikigami, also known as shiki. They are spirits or creatures controlled by a sorcerer through specific rituals. Oh, I thought, that's another type of familiar. Like something an onmyoji would use, right? I asked. That's right. In addition, the inagami and kuda no kitsune are similar in nature. They involve channeling your own energy into creating and controlling a familiar. In this case, that woman is it. Huh? Familiars were generally thought of as low-intelligence entities, but now this seemed different. So, you can make humans into shikigami? Senior shook his head. It's only halfway there. To put it differently, this is the more important part. The woman you saw is a living spirit. So, what does that mean? I inquired. Senior rolled his opposite shoulder. The woman you saw actually exists. She wanted to come to me for some reason, so her energy came to me, like a shikigami. Does that mean you know her? Senior shook his head again. I only exchanged a few words with her at the hospital I've been visiting. You know there's a psychiatric clinic there, right? She's one of the patients. I shuddered. The delusions of a psychiatric patient, especially a woman, were beyond my imagination. That she could channel her soul to Senior just by exchanging a few words. So she's harmful, isn't she? I asked. Senior looked weary, undoubtedly dealing with the influence this woman had on his mental state. He spoke somberly, indeed. No, not at all. It just feels like I'm being watched, so I've been a bit sleep deprived. Oh, I see, I replied. The damage was surprisingly light, so I felt a bit anticlimactic. Well, if there's no malicious intent, it's not a big deal. Plus, it seems like it's almost over, Senior said. Almost over? I asked. Senior smiled, but it was an unpleasant one. You saw her, didn't you? Yes, I did, I confirmed. Indeed, I had seen the woman. So, what's the matter with that? I told you it's about energy. To manifest more strongly, you need to use more energy. It's one thing for me, but for you to see her as clearly as you did, Senior explained. Ah, I see. If she can send her energy even when the E-line is severed, what would happen eventually? Senior asked with a laugh. He got up, laughing as he said, if she has nowhere to flee back to, I can drive her away in my own way. Well, just a little more patience. As Senior left the library, waving his hand, I had a feeling that I saw the woman from yesterday on his back. I wondered about her current condition. But I decided it was best not to dwell on it. How was it? What has become of her appearance now? And why is she attached to the Senior? The emotions of a living person, when intensified, can sometimes affect others, whether the person is aware of it or not. Are you okay? On this channel, I narrate Japanese ghost stories. If you have any other stories you would like me to introduce or any questions about the stories, please leave a comment. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and stay tuned for the next episode.